super excited about our next speaker. He's going to talk to us about the employees, the customer, and digital employee engagement. And I'm talking about Raja Gangavarapu. He's the Enterprise Vice President Software Engineering for Wolters Kluwer's, and he has extensive and deep knowledge with more than 26 years of experience in all aspects of internet information technology and product development. Raja has published articles in technical journals, presented in several symposiums and forums, and participated in several panel discussions and conducting podcasts all around his thought and industry leadership, which he will so generously share with our global audience today. Thank you so much, Raja, for being here with us.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Jose, for that wonderful introduction. And let me share my presentation, and hopefully it's very clear to all of you. Okay. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. And day number 3 of this virtual symposium or conference, and hopefully it's all going pretty good for you. And hopefully I'll keep your enthusiasm or excitement levels up in day number 3, and can hear some feedback from you after I'm done, and in terms of what I'm going to share with you. All right. So let's dive in. What I'm going to talk today with all of you is about this digital employee, and what is this digital employee engagement should look like, and what we try to do. And now in the process, try to get some experiences from our digital engagement of a customer or a digital transform a customer, apply them to make this digital employee. Okay, so let's unpack this, what it is all about. And now, okay, all right. Now let's see how the story unfolds for this digital employee. First, we'll talk about employee as a customer. That's what we said, right? So let's establish what it means. And then we'll go into goals, what we set up for ourselves, and what are the challenges, and what are the reasons that that led to those challenges, initially inhibited to achieve our goals. And then we'll look at the key tenets of digital transformation and how we leverage them to solve these challenges and to accomplish our goals. And then we will, I'll walk you through what we have done in terms of a framework we developed eventually to accomplish this digital employee. And then finally, we arrive at automated process flows. I mean, this is very, very important for digital transformation. Anybody out there who is undertaking this journey knows that the importance of this process flows and how thorough they need to be, and the automated options that need to put in the process flows. This is almost, I call this as a linchpin for any digital transformation, and even for us, it's the same, and how and what we did to accomplish digital employee. And then we will start winding down towards architecture and what we have done there. It's very important at the end of the day. How we implemented is a key, and we'll walk through our system environment. Again, this is, I'm just going to talk at a summary level. The details as such probably will lead to another discussion of its own. And then we'll wrap the session with actions and the results, and hopefully I can provide some few takeaways from you and the results that we had seen, that we had accomplished so far. All right, this is how the story is going to unfold. So let's dive in, and let's kick this in. And what is the need of treating employee as a customer, correct? So human capital has become a critical challenge for every organization. Now you ask me, why it is so new? It's nothing new. It's an age-old challenge and a solution, kind of a paradigm has been coming along, you know, be it any kind of an industry you were in since the Industrial Revolution, right? But why it has become even more important is we're looking for skilled employees also at the same time, and has become the highest strategic focus, particularly among this what we call as a great resignation. And that's induced by a global pandemic on the different reasons as well, globally speaking. There are so many opportunities for the employees nowadays, and they're grabbing it. So why not, correct? And it is that each organization, we need to hold on to these skilled employees, and as you get the good employees, how you hone them into skilled employees and still hold on to them is a critical challenge. And as we all know right now, the wars that's going on has made things even worse. So really put us in an unprecedented spot that we had not seen these generations in the, at all, compared to any past situations. Okay, and then the leveraging the digital transformation for that we had done for our customers, and probably all the organization are doing this process, right? So how all this sum up to, correct? Now, essentially the success or the growth approaches that put into the customers can be leveraged for employees. And then our organization is speaking, what we have done is we treated employees, contractors, or offshore resources with the vendor resources, and your business partner or technical partners, a BPO or whoever it is, all at the same level. Their access, whatever the need they have, all of them put together constitute that digital employee. Correct. That's what we did. And then at the same time, as you focus on employee, as you take the experiences from this, and at the same focus with your customer, make this digital customer, at the same time, these are all intertwined, right? And keep focusing on the intersection points and interactions, and keep focus on them as well. We started seeing more results than individual looking at each one of them, each one of the groups, right? Your customer, digital transformation, and the digital employee, and together. And as we started looking at them, and we started looking at some agile and flexible organization, and now you can start seeing your employee challenges and problems and solve them on a real-time basis. Okay, moving on now with key challenges, right? And then problems to solve and need for new capabilities. As we said as at the beginning of our story, that every time there's a new challenge comes in, and then that brings in new solutions and opportunity to establish some new capabilities. So what are the goals? And these are not unique, for us, and that are very relevant even for all of you, everybody over there. So again, we simply started in a simple way and most profoundly important and impactful for us. Well, seamless employee onboarding. And particularly global company, this is tricky and difficult. You can have an excellent experience in one region, say in America or North America, and you may be okay in Europe, and depending on wherever in Europe, different countries, each country may have a different, and that may work. But when you start spreading globally, LATAM, Asia Pac, then each region may bring their own challenges, and having a consistency is very difficult. But that's what we try to do and accomplish a great deal in this process. To make the seamless onboarding. Again, I would say this is a journey. We're not done yet, but that's one of the top goals that we put in place. And then engaging employee experience. What is that engaged employee and that experience should look like? And efficient employee and customer interaction. And then again, you will hear from me that particular theme throughout my discussion today. And then prevention of technology spread. Again, we're a global company and the technology spread is everywhere. Some are needed, some are must have, some should not be there. So we should have gotten rid of that. All of them there, but at the same time, we still prevent them. And what would be the reason they spread? Stop prevention and then scale back and optimize your technology. Well, in the process, what are the challenges? Well, localized and legacy processes, nothing new. Global footprint with the lack of standards. I think this one is important, a little bit more important than the first one for us. And for you, it could be different or it could be same. For us, we're a global company, as I said, and there are standards regionally speaking, but when you together common standard across, it became very difficult for us. So we started working on it, what that should look like. So we accomplished it, but it's not possible to have one standard apply across the board. So we started looking how we can customize locally, still globally consistent. And the next challenge is several manual touch points. Well, this is common. We have seen this. Some are more than the other, the They are there for a reason. Everybody has a reason or purpose why they need to be there. And as we try to fix them, everybody has this, no, you can't do that. And local and language barriers, and different tools and localized technology. And then no focused efforts, and most of the planning is localized. Actually, this is good in some ways, because people may not wait, or groups or business or cannot wait for a global strategy or overall strategy put in place. The business need to be run. So they need to get the people onboarded. They need to give the tools to the people. So they start looking, they put something what works for them, right? Keep them going. That could give you results for them, but as you bring it all together to prevent your technology spread or consistency, they become challenge for you. So the people who are proud to accomplish such a thing, suddenly they come and face this problem, and they're like, oh, okay, we have done a fantastic job until now you're telling me it's not good. So we need to deal with that carefully. So what are the reasons that could lead to these set of challenges? And these are the reasons we focused on from a solution standpoint. All right, nothing unique here, right? Disconnect business processes, right? Rigid and customized local engagement methods, we just talked about it. Isolated and disconnected systems, unevenly distributed data. I know this is a problem which is more profound as you dig into it. And what we realized is though the data is everywhere, people pull the data and use a purpose, change the information, and for their purpose, or sometimes visiting erroneous problems. As we start looking at overall data strategy in this process, we realize it's a lot more acute than we thought when we started off with this journey. Duplicate systems. Well, each region, through acquisitions, it could be a problem, and you may not have a strategy in terms of bringing it all together. And then continuous thoughtful planning. You focus on external customer a lot more than you focus on employee, because that's where your revenue comes, that's where your growth happens, that's where you don't lose business. It's natural way of doing it. But now again, your employee and making digital employees even more important than ever, right? And then lack of global strategy, right? Now we established employee as a customer, the need of it, and we talked about goals and the challenges that we had accomplished in the process. Now we'll start at taking a journey towards the solution side of it, what we have done. Well, we looked at the core tenets of digital transformation. So what I'm going to show you is not necessarily in any order, but I'll walk through a certain order. Data, just talked about data, importance of it. So try to streamline the data as it happens. As data is put in, data information is what runs the organization. We need to be having a clean control, comfortable control on how the data is passing from system A to system B, how everybody is consuming it, information, right? That's what we act on. And then data cleansing and creation of a master data like CMDB. CMDB, in IT world, people know this very well, configuration management database, which is basically the information about your organization infrastructure, all about your tooling and application reside on as a common place. And people are striving towards to have this CMDB formed up across the board. An efficient employee setup. And we're going to talk about this, where the digital employee start shaping up, right? And governance through standards and lineage, rules, and the data democratization. And again, data democratization is a key aspect, how one can consume the data from a core system, how data goes out. Of course, this is where the lineage and all come into the play, but a data democratization is here to stay, because you can't stop from somebody consuming the data. You cannot put a control. Now you cannot touch the data. The days are gone. Everybody wants the data. They are the owners of the data as well. But it's all about creating a process towards so that you don't lose grip on it. And then the technology, of course, right? So you need to have a good practicable enterprise architecture. Don't boil the ocean. You need to have something basic to work on. And latest technology with components and replacement of legacy. And this is, from a technology standpoint, this is a holy grail. Everybody look at it, meaning you don't need to have legacy systems, always modernizing the system. Well, a lot of challenges in doing so, right? Execution problem, budget overruns, business priorities change, but don't lose sight of it. And that's what we try to do here. Real-time integration, start focusing on real-time as much as possible, even the data. And cloud enablement, well, we live in the cloud today, right? Not real cloud, obviously, play a huge, and it's a game changer. Thought process changed. And along with that goes your security framework, consistent, solid security framework, and monitoring and effective operational. Gone are the days where you need to call somebody looked at it, takes their own time, and oh, this is where the problem is and all. And this is where the automation and even hyper automations are kicking in and enabling the organization to be a little bit more proactive or prevent the problem before it happens. Process, of course, as I always call it, is the linchpin in any digital transformation or making a digital employee. Well, you need to have objective alignment with that, what you want to do, what this employee experience should look like, and as we turn the employee into a digital employee. Focus on automation with end-to-end business processes, and that's very important. Redefine the process and effective orchestration. They go hand in hand. That's what we try to do. Process wise, okay, you have A to B to C, but how we can orchestrate it, from a business process standpoint. You can use whatever the tools you want. We use our own tools. It's up to you, but make sure they go hand in hand. And then clear expected outcomes. So a process begins and ends, and it has to end with a clear outcome. It cannot be ambiguous, or it's not up to a person to figure out later. It has to have a clear outcome. And process validation and exception handling. And this is where we need to put our thoughts into it, and technology can come and solve and help you, but this is very important as you line up the processes. And the last in this core tenets are your organization change management, right? And I picked this statement from internet. I don't know where I picked it from. I apologize for the source, but digital transformation is business transformation. I loved it. And vice versa. Somebody's looking to business transformation nowadays, it's invariably looking like your digital transformation. They're going hand in hand. They're exciting times, right? And this is where the digital employee is born out of. And of course, communication. There's so many books written, about what importance of the communication. And then the lead the change with a clear mandate. Whatever it is, mandate got to be clear from top down, or at a certain level downwards. It got to be very clear. And the lead the change. Leading a change is very difficult proposition, very difficult. And you have pluses and minuses. We need to deal with them as they go along. And how you can prevent roadblocks coming away, continue sharing of results, good or bad, share your results. All right, now once we establish this, so what we ventured into, well, let's create a framework for all of for what are we doing together to create this digital employee, so that is repeatable, and we start looking into kind of where we can improve. Again, this is a journey. There is no stop. There is no full stop. There's like we're done and declare a victory, right? We can have milestones as we go into this, but it's very important for us to put all of them in perspective. First, consistent employee experience. Single access for all the employee for credentialing or an access request or any kind of request an employee wants, a software request, everything needs to start from a single point of entry. And consistent process for request of equipment, be it a laptop, be it a smart device, or a different company has a different set of requirements for certain equipment requests. All need to be consistently processed through one place. And consistent UI UX for a global employee base. Global is a key word here, because you can have a localized experience, and how we want to do language is a key aspects to it. Keep global employee perspective. That's what we're trying to do as we started, or from the starting point itself. And make sure you have SLAs in place. If somebody's requested an equipment and somebody's fulfilling it, make sure that our SLAs are clearly established, or they vary. And this is where the localization come into play. I mean, sometimes the local processes influence that SLAs. That's good, that's fine. Make sure they're captured. And this is where, again, I will draw into one of our presenters on day one. Weston Morris presented about this experience level agreement. I liked it because we do that aspect as part of this overall SLA, but I loved how he called out and kind of put a lot more focus on it, which I agree with 100%, because this experience matter. It's not a touch, feel, kind of it, but the fulfillment, what an employee is looking for. That way, the digital employee, it really be successful, right? And then standards and continuous then a communication mechanism, of course, seamless employee engagement. And then the next one is your uniform and standard process flows. Again, process flows come into the play again. So I'll call a little bit out, specifically your compliance and audit framework. You need to have that in place, because all you do, be it in HR processes, be it your technical fulfillment behind the scenes, request and access to certain systems, or all need to be kind of probably there's a checks and balances in place, so it's a separation of duties in place. All of them undergo severe audit and type of industry you're in. We deal with financial industries and various industries, so we go through different audit requirements, and pretty much the life of us in here in Wolters Kluwer. So having the framework is very, very important. And then, of course, technology to bring it all together. And then digital enablement, employee plus customer, look both of them together. What we can gain from that, and again, use that tenets of digital transformation in however you define. This is how we defined it to start applying them wherever possible. Continuous improvement model. It's a continuous journey. It doesn't stop. Now, so we established a baseline here. Now we are coming to that bit of an important milestone in what I want to share with you. Is this was a digital employee and automated interaction process flows. So an employee, has a different personas in any organization. Somebody's working in IT, somebody's a developer, somebody's an infrastructure person, somebody's a security person, and from the business standpoint, somebody's sales, somebody's a product manager. There's a CEO and your CFO. They all use laptops, and that's what they do, right? And it doesn't matter when somebody is just joined company from a college versus CEO. They all need their equipment in place. So in this aspect, everybody is part of this digital employee. So what I will show you is, given that so many widespread personas, and it's just impossible to talk about each and everything through the construct of one. So I'll try to present, kind of a little generalized at summarized level, and to make this a digital employee, which is, having a single experience. The requests are fulfilled automatically. At least communication is done clearly. If there is some exceptions, a problem when it all happens, if something is stuck in some pipeline, and so that this employee is continue to do the work without having any challenges. She's enjoying the work. When they come in the morning or in the evening. Okay, let's look at this process flows. Well, here you go, and a user, in this case, an employee or a contractor coming in, or a manager, somebody submitting on behalf of bringing an employee on board, or a contractor on board. Well, there's going to be a single pane of access for all of the requests to be put in place, and that's what the single pane of access will capture information that are relevant for everything that's needed for HR compliance, based on the conformance, the rules that they put in place. As you trying to hire a person, try to bring on from a day one standpoint, have you set up all the needed requirements for that employee, and training done, or onboarding processes are done, and all need to be processed through or requested through one place. And from the same place, your request for equipment, and again from the same place, request for ID and password and authentication and request to all the systems that employee ought to have or access to have. Again, the contractor, when I use the word digital employee or employee, I'm including all of them. As I said at the beginning of it, we started treating all of the same, right? I'm using that employee as it's a common construct to capture all of those different types of resources. And building location, various access you need to have based on your organization need. For us, building access, given we are globally spread, we have a lot of offices, that's very important for us. And then all of the information is flown into respective fulfillers in a real-time basis, and each person fulfills this request differently, right? And we establish SLAs. So what we accomplish in this process is global consistent HR process and policies, globally consistent. Again, the localized changes within that. There's no one process across the globe. That's not possible. So, but there's a correlation between global and a localized process, the connection between them. It's basically localized or inherited from the global processes. And process completion as per defined SLAs. People know when they come in, hey, I'm going to get my laptop in 2 days. Oh, you have a great, and your ID is already provisioned from the day before a contractor started or employee started. Everything is in place, access is set up, and the manager has all the information. They're like, okay, my person is ready to go. Day one, employee laptop is coming the way, smart device is coming the way, or access all set, ready to go. And then you have a similar experience with service desk. If you have a problem, you call service desk. They can look at it. Oh, this is where the problem is, and yeah, the laptop has an issue because setup has delayed and it's coming on your way in 2 days, kind of stuff, or a day. And conformance to global policies for provisioning. Right? And then now a digital employee we onboarded here. Now let's look at different persona of this employee and how this employee can interact. And this is where we implemented our internal digital transformation. So this employee is working in IT, and he's a problem solver or fulfiller, resolver. And then this digital employee, again, having access to a single system, single pane of access, a tracking system, just generalize the term. Again, I'm not trying to show technology, what we did behind the scenes. I'm just going to generalize the term so that it communicates what we're trying to do. And what this employee do, ITSM process and automated workflow. Security issues. Security is a pretty big deal today. There's a lot of penetration and hacking going on out there. And now you see almost warnings blazing every day because of the situation in Russia and Ukraine. You know, every organization is on high alert. I mean, you know, you are vulnerable. Ransomware is prevalent. So as it happens, we developed a, kind of a secure automated workflow for all security incidents, and all visible only to the specific set of people. Access only to those people, right? And then application incident, anything that happens, all access through a single pane. So what it means, this employee can submit all of this problem to a single pane of access, and also people who are resolving our access through that have access to those issues that came in front of them. So here it is submitter, here's a full resolver or a fulfiller fixing on this problem through a single pane of access, all of them in one place. So visibility factor. Now, once this is established, here is an external customer coming in and having access, having some problem with the product or application she is accessing. The email is incorrect and she wants to make a change and she couldn't figure out how to change it correctly, or system threw an error. So just like any system that you put in place, we have several systems out there where problems are logged into a different system altogether, through certain mechanism, right? Now that is put in front of our internal customer or internal employee to resolve that particular problem. Okay, so this is a pretty standard process, goes everywhere depending on type of system you put in. So what we accomplish here, quick and real-time problem resolution with self-service. External customer get their problems resolved quickly. How did you do it? Now you can ask, hey, well, this is still going through a little bit of person is trying to resolve. Now what we did here is we tried to automate the flow between our ticketing system and the other ticketing system, and so that information flows. And we are not done yet in this process. I want to be careful because there's a lot of trickiness here to make sure everything goes through. So we may not get to the point everything will be automatically resolved or put in front of the right resolvers, but we started looking at some success where it doesn't have to be a swivel chair, this internal user turning around and creating another problem or a ticket for a different set of group of people. But at least we accomplished that part. We're looking at this is where we can have a lot of success. Eventually, some maybe even potential hyper automation is a potential option here. So now a third form, an employee engagement. This employee could be anybody in this organization, and how those problems can be resolved through a global or service desk, depending on how you did. We are going towards this global service desk and a contact center built in together, and that's where your problems are resolved in a real-time or near real-time basis. And we started bringing robotic process wherever we can. So now the picture is rather complete, right? Employee and onboarded smoothly became a digital employee, and fulfillment and problem resolution happen for this internal digital employee, internal user turning into a digital employee, and your external customer submitting the tickets, issues, problems are getting resolved quickly, or at least getting information in a predictable way. And I bring it all together at global service desk, having information and looking at the same set of information, provide information back. Now, so what we accomplished: digitally automated onboarding, digitally automated workplace, and digitally transformed end-to-end service model. Now, let's look at the conceptual architecture. Again, this would itself take on its own presentation. I've tried to simplify this and put some key points and what we pay attention to. So essentially, how we accomplished is we have a one consistent ticketing system, and it's a digital. That means workflows and everything in place. Majority is automated, and I would not say everything is automated because I don't know if it's possible or not, but that's a journey we are undertaking, which are integrated with the key systems, which is basically when external customer logged in their problem, we use our CRM system to log that information. That information flow into the same digital ticketing system, which is our digital employee. When the service desk accesses that information, it's the same ticketing system flowing through an entire organization, circling your organization's problem resolutions, and that also captured at report analytics for you to report. And again, this is where your SLAs can be reported, security related framework can be put in place, and all of them are again managed through one consistent security access points. So what we have done here: real time and as per SLA, automated onboarding combined with effective workplace setup and automation, redefined and modernized business process and orchestration. And because we implemented a lot of RPA behind the HR system, which by the way, we have one consistent global HR system we implemented, and replaced a lot of legacy system in this process, and a lot of manual process got automated. And then near real-time reporting. Beautiful, isn't it? Because information is flowing in real time. We push the data into our reporting system. People can capture and see, like, what happened yesterday, what happened this morning. If depending on the time, right? It's not instantaneous. Integrated system keeps the problem resolution close to real time. Okay, and look at the system environment standpoint. Okay, we have a multi-cloud hosting, and all this is where the integration becomes even more tricky, but we accomplished it. And data encryption at rest and secure in flight, very important for what are you trying to do. And then analytics and reporting for audit and compliance, as I said, and the latest security framework we adopted. All right, so actions and results, kind of take a look at this. So what are the actions? And one of the key takeaways I would propose for you: a framework for digital employee engagement and value realization. What you did there: define and repeatable framework, clear goals, objectives for digital employee, have them ready. We did that. We looked at it, what it is all about, and redefine and redesign process orchestration. And the results we saw in this process: demonstrable onboarding experience as per SLA per region globally, simplification and efficiency due to consistent globally available system, ease of maintenance of assets, laptops, or whatever you want to, whatever they are, maintenance of it, and then internal process employee satisfaction. Globally consistent process and simplification, right? Simplification is very important because your maintenance reduces, everything reduces, errors get reduced. And HR and payroll standardization, payroll is a key thing. If anybody is from this area listening to this, is how problematic it is globally. Again, that itself would go into multiple presentations. But we started reducing the errors. They were not there yet, but we definitely started reducing the errors and improve the consistency how we submit it. The second, nuances of customer and employee engagement. Again, I will end with that theme, how important it is. Globally consistent ticketing system. Okay, real-time process improvements, and that technology standardization. Very, 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 very important. I cannot say how many very's in there. Correct. And what are the results in the process? Reduction and removal of repeatable work and workforce reclassification. You can have your digital employee doing valuable work and more satisfaction and more stickiness with your organization, right? And this digital transformation for employee efficiency and actual customer satisfaction. We have seen one example there. And also conformance to your SOC 2 or ISO 27001, or there are many audit and compliance rules out there, and it'll become a lot more easy to be compliant to all of it. And the third and the last, common pitfalls, or rather what you need to pay attention to, the dynamics of digital employee engagement. What are those? Identify constraints to establish digital employee, and there are plenty. We have seen many, right? And we're not done yet. You know, they are also evolving too, just like how we evolve. Problems are evolving too. That agreement and support from different groups with a clear, acceptable approach. You need to bring everybody together as much as possible. I know it's may not be perfect, but everybody need to agree to that objective. And continuous improvement of global digital employee. If you stop one place, and again, problems will take over you. And the results thereof. Identified the constraints early and implemented the suitable solutions in a relevant time frame. Relevant time frame is very important. Elimination of legacy and localized system process. We're very successful in the process. Communication, and execution and implementation that's globally suitable. There's a lessons learned for us we're picking up, but overall, I would say like we did a pretty good job there. With a focus on expected results, continue to make improvements, So with that thought, I will stop with my presentation and can take some questions and bring Jose back into the view.
Outstanding presentation, Raja. What a great view of the digital transformation. Engaging these employees in this process. And I'll ask you to keep your camera on, Raja, while we do this. So you stop the presentation, which is good, but bring your camera back on. Great. And one of the themes that I want to discuss with you is that this is about digital employee engagement. And the example you show is such a rich example of all the multifaceted approach to this. And help us again understand the engagement portion that with the employees. How do you get, is it on the process design? Is it on the technology adoption? How you get the employees and professionals engage in these activities so that you see their point of view all the way from the beginning of designing the process for these employees? I'm curious about how you deal with that.
Well, it's a multiple ways, Jose, to deal with that, and particularly different surveys that we have done over the period of time, different challenges we have seen, and also evolution of HR process and globally what we should have, right? And our organization evolution is those are global for a very long time, but systems evolution is also localized. Right, we have one system in North America, one process for it, and there's a payroll works differently from North America from Europe because of the rules themselves, right? And that onboarding has its own took its own separate paths because of systems, process, and all. And what we have done is again the communication in terms of approach, what we have done and the service we have done and feedback we received and presentations back. So it's like more interactive discussions and getting more and more feedback. Now, unlike any big ERP implementations or functional transformation or acquisitions, these are not deep, right, in terms of figuring out what the problem is. This is also a bit shallow in its complexity, but very, very important. You cannot miss even a single one. You cannot say like, oh, I will do it later kind of stuff. They're all should be done at the same time. With that approach and engaging back and forth, and then looking at what an employee experience should look like. Right? What does a global desktop should look like? And we have desktops, we have service desk already in place in each region, so we know how it's working. But what is that bringing it all together means? So as we start looking into it, and it's not that we looked all at the same time and created execution plan. Right? We have an approach overall as we drafted and started attacking them one at a time with a time frame. And HR is one first thing which we did, a globally consistent HR platform, and then this ITSM based ticketing system. Both went a little bit in parallel. Though ITSM related ticketing system has started way back when we took the cloud journey. So all happened with overlapping and a bit in some more sequential in nature, and we started bringing them all together once we had baseline in each of these areas.
Yeah, the level of coordination and collaboration that you're describing is fantastic, and but it's not easy to do. And I'm curious now, if we go not just the employee professional level, but you look at senior leaders in the organization, what kind of support and engagement you must have from those senior leaders to execute on some of the things you're talking about here?
Oh, the mandate came from the highest level. The need of it is, the employee, the need of an employee and a skilled employee has been there for a long time. And this is a challenge in the last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. The demand is always there. I mean, good for, even we are employees of certain organizations, right? So it's good for all of us. But the thing is, whoever we have, and that person should enjoy the work, right? Everybody started realizing the importance of it, and this pandemic it provided a great opportunity, let me put that way, right? And the highest level is this became suddenly reached the top. And even for our CEO, when he was presenting to the market, and she presented this as one of the top points for her and for the executive board to pay attention to. So the mandate was clear from top down, and then it is all up to us how we all bring it together, because it's easy, it can go wrong, right? It's easy when we fell into traps for sure. So we pulled back reasonably quickly and move forward.
So this is very good, and you are very fortunate that you have an executive leadership team that saw the need and the opportunity and pursue it. Some of the commentary that I've seen here from the audience has to do with the fact that maybe their senior leaders are not so enthusiastic about it. And what would be your suggestion to sell this value proposition to senior leaders? How would you approach that communication to senior leaders on why this really should matter to them?
Yeah, because I can understand, because sometimes these are not, again, we pay a lot of attention to the external customer, because that's where we get our money from. That's where we get all of it, and we're like, okay, as I'm making money, as I'm, I have $10 where I need to spend. Oh, let me go and invest in there, or let me go and buy that company, which is fantastic. We need to have it. But the important there is, again, this what pandemic did to us, made everybody virtual. 2 years ago, people thought you can't work from anywhere. It is forbidden. And situation proved the case. Let's use this opportunity and what it showed and put them together. And another factor really is the success is important, right? What you have done at a small scale, the results, communicate. Even if you have bad results, please share them. I mean, where things go wrong is if we hide the results or don't show them correctly. When they get to know, that's where that, well, is it really worth it to invest money over there? So somewhere we have to have it. Internal ticketing system, ITSM process, you have to have it, because compliance, security, audit, and all is very important to do. So a lot of organizations that I know of do at a small level, but the success, what you're going to get out of is, how quickly you can be compliant to your security audit, right? How quickly you comply to that, how quickly you have this information so that you don't spend time on it. And your employees, what they're doing, right? Some, are they really satisfied? They're happy? Okay, but a lot of organizations, they are not. So what you can do there to employee engagement, and similarly on the equipment you have or access you have today, even 2 years before, you need to have a employee comes on, you don't have a view whether person did he get his laptop, or did she get his ID and password in place? And the person comes in sometimes, hey, where is my information? He's at the door and trying to settle in, and where do I need to sit, right? Everybody knows he or she is coming, but all these are not set up properly. So what we have done is we are enabling all of it on a real-time basis and available for manager to come in. Now, if you want your employee to stick with your organization, you better have all of them in place. Otherwise, that person fly off and has a fantastic other opportunity. Those are the things we need to put together.
Very well, Raja, we are out of time here now, but I'll tell you what a great presentation, what a great in-depth review of a very good case study here for all of us to understand the complexities, but also the solutions that you have provided to tackle some of these challenges in digital transformation that creates real value for the employees and as a proxy to the customers that those employees serve. So thank you for making that case very clear, providing a very comprehensive review and very practical insights to our global audience today.
Thank you, Jose. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. Bye now. Have fun.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Raja Gangavarapu, who is the Enterprise Vice President of Software Engineering at Wolters Kluwer. sharing their journey of culture, business, and digital transformation with very interesting case and of course many terrific insights. So we appreciate that. We're going to be taking a break now, and at the top of the hour we're going to come back with our final session of Digital Workplace Transformation Live, and we're going to be welcoming a cross-industry digital transformation leader from Cisco, and this is Nilesh Ajmani, and Nilesh is going to be talking to us about achieving and sustaining secure business operations for the digital workplace transformation. So a focus on security before we wrap up the 3-day conference. So take a break now, and I'll see you with Nilesh at the top of the hour.